spend your Monday nights with us?
Hell no.
Creativity in progress.
Hello and welcome to Creativity in Progress, where we talk about creativity in a podcast. My name is Nathan Beatty, and here with me I have
Ethan Murphy, his friend.
Hey Ethan, how you doing today?
I'm cold. I'm cold because I didn't bring any winter clothes to Los Angeles because I figured, well, it's Los Angeles. There's no point in bringing winter clothes here. But of course, it's like raining every day and it's in the 50s at night and God hates me in my face. So I'm cold. But my friend, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I have zero sympathy for you because we're the high today was 45. So
nice.
Yes.
And Ari, how are you? Oh, wait.
I'm fine. Yes, we are Ari-less today. She was traveling. She's traveling, right? She's not.
Yeah, that's the excuse she gave. I think also, I mean, I did see on her Twitter. She said, "If I ever see you two guys again, so help me." So she's done with us forever.
Well, yeah. Well, until next week. But
until next week.
Until next week. Yeah. So yeah, Ari is traveling today. We were going to try to see if she could join us this evening, but unfortunately, her flight was delayed, as a lot of people could have predicted. So yeah. So it's we're going old school today. We are very nostalgic today.
Yes, very much so. Very much. It's just you and me. This is just the original Bash Brothers.
Yes, it's been so long.
It has been.
And then now a pause of awkward silence.
As we try to man hug from 3,000 miles across the country.
So how have you been? But yeah. So seriously, how have you been? What's been going on? Like anything new going on out there in the Hollywood land?
A few things. So the first thing is I joined up with a meetup group that is one of these Hollywood meetup groups that's has a whole bunch of filmmakers and producers and that kind of stuff in it. And it was fun seeing like how all of them are like you are by far one of the most motivated people I know in Charlottesville as far as the tech that you do and all kinds of different creative projects and whatnot. Out here, seeing in that group how all of them are like a whole bunch of Nates, like they're like, oh, I have this app that I made that does this, and if you can use it right here to do that and hooking it up and everything else. He goes, oh, I wrote this script last night. It's 400 pages. It's like, wow, you guys are all the Justice League of super nerds / celebrity type filmmakers. So it was really cool meeting up with them. And what I did is I kind of as a show and tell, like I brought my own project. So I said, okay, I'll go up there. So I've been there a few times. I'm going there tonight after we record, actually. But I brought the first couple of issues of Slade and Nash. I said, well, you guys can go and check this out. If you like it, let me know. And then I had to go out and had to work after the meetup. And then I got like 5 emails from the people at the meetup that read the book. They passed it around and read it after I left. And 5 of them emailed me saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much. They want to read some more of the book and stuff. So I had to bring back the rest of the series tonight. So I'm looking forward to doing that and getting some feedback.
That's awesome.
That's been fun. Yeah, it's a fun little excursion there. But how about yourself, my friend? What have you been up to?
Oh man, I've been family stuff. Just been going crazy with. Okay, we went because we actually haven't recorded since before Thanksgiving. So
that's right.
Yeah, went to Pennsylvania for Thanksgiving, which was fun. Fun. No, it was fun. It was a good time. We spent Thanksgiving with the Warden's family, and then after that we went to my mom's house and sat there and chatted with family and friends. It was actually the first time that I believe I've been. Yeah, it was the first time I was up north and talking to my brother and sister and my brother-in-law since I've dropped the podcast. So that was pretty cool to talk to them a little bit about that and what they thought and everything. They're still loving it. They're still listening. My brother-in-law was like, I'm behind. I'm like, it's fine. So am I. You know?
so am I. So am I. So see, but the legendary Kev was there.
Yes, he was, and it was cool. It was cool to talk to him about it. So and we were also, it was also fun to talk to him about the Mandalorian because like we've never, you know, there really hasn't been a show that he and I have kind of connected on because, you know, just like a good show, you know, I should say. And the Mandalorian, just we were like, oh, did you see this one part? And he was like, did you, like at the time he was like, did you see chapter 4 yet? And I said, no, I haven't seen chapter 4. And he's like, oh, I can't tell you about it. You know, it was kind of cool to chat with him about that.
Well, part of what makes it so appealing, and I know this isn't the topic of today or like that, but part of what makes it so appealing is that you can't binge the show.
Yeah,
it's pseudo appointment television in that there's only one drop a week, and that way it keeps all of us in the same having the same conversation more or less at the same time, which is great. So I guess, have you at this point? We're not getting into spoilers or anything like that, audience. But at this point, are you caught up? Have you seen episodes 3 and 4? I think 5 too.
Yeah, I've seen them all.
Okay.
Yeah, and wow, like they're doing a really good job of keeping the stories varied, so it doesn't feel like the same thing each week. Like, it's not feeling like, you know, like, oh, you know, gets into a situation and, oh my God, what are we going to do? You know, like it seems it's flowing very well. Like there is a little bit of like, you know, problem of the week, but it's done so fluidly that it's just, you don't really notice it. You know, at least I don't.
No, well, part of it, you definitely don't notice it, but part of it is too, is that it is consistent with that character. I mean, we've already discussed some of this, but it's consistent with the main character's plight from square one to wherever we are. Each week they're trying to do something with their situation. It's one ongoing A story essentially, and there's constantly there's a B story that comes in each week that kind of, you know, deviates them or distracts them, detours them. That's the word. The word detours them from their main objective, so to speak. But it does work. It is very organic with the show, with the characters, and I love it. In the first 3 episodes, I was talking to somebody about it. The first 3 episodes, in and of itself, could have been like one movie, more or less. Could have been one big movie, like the first part of a trilogy. Basically, it's that well structured, that well made. So
it was just so good. Like there's so much more I want to say, but it's like spoilers. But I am going to go. I'm going to edge to spoiler territory, but I'm not going to actually step over it, I don't think. Okay. Who do you think was the person who walked up at the very end, in the very last scene of chapter 5? There was someone walks into frame. Yes. Who do you think that is?
It's the same person you think. Now neither of us knows his name though, but I'm thinking it's Giancarlo Esposito.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I he's one of my candidates. They're actually, I don't know if this is the obvious or not. I'm thinking it might be the Mandalorian. I don't know. It's
another Mandalorian?
No. The Mandalorian. Like
just that one again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that, making it look like, you know, someone else, but it's really him.
Okay.
That's one of my potentials. And then what's his nuts? The other one could be
Carl Weathers?
No, not Carl Weathers. The old dude.
Starts with a Werner Herzog.
Yeah. That was possible. Probably not. He was walking too upright.
Probably not. He wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. If he's seen a walker with tennis balls on it, we know it's Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, that the way they structured it, they did it very well as far as leaving it open ended, so we don't know, which is great. Yeah. I do love that, and I like the idea that too. I think it's 9 episodes this season, so we're only about halfway, a little more than halfway through. So there's. They set the potential up for them to introduce that character in the next episode or wait and have them come in later on. And also it could be either a hero, ally or a enemy, so to speak. We don't know either way. So it's limitless potential. Now, do you want to hear one of the theories online as to who it is?
Okay.
You may not want to hear it, but I'll
go ahead. Throw it to me.
All right. So it's a 2-parter. One deals with the idea that the flashbacks constantly show, not constantly, the flashbacks show the Mandalorian when he was a child, and then a droid presumably was about to kill him. His parents put him into a bunker for safety. I mean, spoilers. His parents put him into a bunker for safety, and a droid was presumably going to kill him. And then clearly something had to save him in order for him not to be killed by that droid, or at least taken prisoner or whatnot. One of the biggest theories is that it is, in fact, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan showed up and saved him because the director, Deborah Chow, is directing the upcoming Obi-Wan show. And what they're saying online is that it's possible it's a tie-in. And so the person, because it looked like it was a cloaked individual, it was actually Obi-Wan has more or less, in some capacity, possibly been keeping tabs on both Luke and this Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian was on Tatooine at one point in the series too. So it's possible that it was Obi-Wan that was there. And so the show this season could end with us seeing Obi-Wan again, played by Ewan McGregor, possibly, I guess, which would set up the upcoming series.
Interesting. Series. Well, but here's my, and this could be completely my misunderstanding. I thought this was set after Return of the Jedi.
It is. Now, what they're saying about that is that we're seeing the stuff that we saw at the end of the episode where the individual comes up cloaked, what have you. That's a flashback. That's not actually present. That's actually that's why that's not my theory. I don't subscribe to that.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's possible that yes, Obi-Wan may have saved him when he was a kid, and what we saw is that's still part of the same flashback.
Okay.
That's basically that's meant to look like it's happening now, but it's actually that was a flashback leading to him in the first place, which is that's kind of like you're going around the ring here.
Yeah.
But so my theory is just that it's Giancarlo Esposito. It's not. It's a character we haven't met yet in the present day, not Obi-Wan or anybody else.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
I think it's that because I don't prescribe to that either, just because I think they would have done a little bit. There would have been more of a tipped hand to kind of let that be a thing. Like it would have been, I think it would have been slightly more obvious that they were going to flashback land. I don't know. So we'll see. We could be wrong. Those people could be right.
It's possible. Yeah. I like the idea that we don't know. I do I like not knowing things. It's rare these days we have to get to be surprised in the nerd world. Yeah. So I like it.
Speaking of being surprised in the nerd world. Yes. I'm really hard time not swearing right now because this trailer was amazing. Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer dropped today and it blew my socks off. Like
I see it. Your socks are over here. Your
seriously,
socks are in California. That's how far they got blown. Yeah.
Oh my God! So did you see it?
Of course, my friend. Of course, you insult me to my face. Yes, I saw it. Yes.
Well, so your thoughts?
I was thoroughly pleased. Part of what it is too is I know there's been some guff that how dare you set a Ghostbusters movie outside of New York City, and I'm like, well, we've already seen 3 of them in New York City. We've exhausted that. Let's move on to something else. So I like seeing it actually it makes sense too that it would be in a completely different environment, completely different area. If this is something, if the things that happened in Ghostbusters 2, since that's the last canon movie, happened in the early 90s, right? In order for there to be like, I mean, you pretty much would have retired somewhere far away from the city. You want to get as far away from there as you possibly can. Yeah. Going to the middle of nowhere, some random farmhouse, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense in the world. Yeah, all the sense in the world. Yeah. And I love the idea that the trailer makes it clear that this family is somehow related to a Ghostbuster. Yeah. But we don't know which one it is. Yeah. And we don't know how exactly. So.
Yeah. Who do you think? Who do you think?
I was kind of hoping for Egon. Yeah. Like Egon, but I don't know.
I thought that too, but there's a couple of clues. So I think it could be Egon because I think they're going to write in Egon's death, because I think that's just standard because
Ramis?
Yeah, Harold Ramis is gone. May he rest in peace. But with Egon, so like I have a feeling that's going to be a part of the movie, is that Egon is dead. And it sounded like this person, the whichever Ghostbuster was passed on. So it could be either Egon, it could be Peter Venkman. I doubt that. I kind of doubt that. I have a feeling they might slip him in. I don't know how, but if I had to put money down though, it would be Ray. I think it's going to be Ray.
That seems like the most obvious choice.
Yeah.
Yes. Stans seems like the most likely to have had a family afterwards.
Yeah.
After all this stuff.
Yeah, and he also he was the one that like kind of gathered all this stuff, like he and Egon. So this is a little bit of a thing that like Egon was a little bit like this too, but Ray did it out of a sense of love, I guess. Like he
almost like childlike joy.
Yeah, exactly. So like he loved all of these things, so obviously he would take them with him. And they also, if you remember in the first movie, he mentions, that was my parents' house. I was born.
Just going to say that. I was just getting ready to say that.
And I'm wondering, maybe, is this that house? Like, is this Ray's house?
This is that parents' house.
Yeah. Everybody has 3 mortgages these days. But
yeah, classic lines.
And they were successful enough that he could have paid them all off. So
Yes, presumably. Yeah. That's what so the trailer kind of tries to misdirect. There's a part where I think it's Finn Wolfhard's talking, or maybe it's the young girl is talking, and talking about how they're. I don't think they say their father. They say their grandfather. Their grandfather was a Ghostbuster, and you hear like Peter Venkman's voice saying, "Call it fate. Call it." Almost like they're trying to misdirect us to think that Venkman was their grandfather. It's like I don't see.
Well, sorry,
doing that.
I need to nerd correct. That's Ray Stantz. Oh wait, no, it is Venkman. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut that out. Sorry. Sorry.
No. Actually, leave it in. Leave it in.
God. I can't believe I made that mistake. Geez. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. But I think that misdirect is deliberate. Anytime a trailer tries to deliberately misdirect you, same like Sans episode 7, where you see John Boyega or Finn fighting Kylo Ren with the blue lightsaber for a half second in the trailer, and the real fight comes afterwards. Yeah, I feel it's the same thing with this, where they're trying to make it seem like, oh no, worries, Venkman. It's like I think you're right, because they know the most logical choice is Stantz. Now, if they want to go real off the wall, their grandfather is Winston Zeddemore. It's like, oh yeah, we were adopted. It's like, well done, Flick. I didn't see that coming for a mile and a half.
Exactly.
You win.
Well, I haven't seen the cast list yet, so I don't know. I don't know who actually is in the movie, who isn't in the movie. I would have a feeling they probably would keep that close to their vest if they had any of the originals in there anyway. But I'm almost positive that Winston's going to be in the movie, because he's always
100% sure.
Yeah, he's.
I think you and I together have been to like 3 different Comic Cons where Ernie Hudson's been there. He's always looking for work, always doing stuff. So,
yeah. And I love Ernie Hudson, so it's like, yes, please.
I did too.
But the one that's least likely to be in it is Bill Murray, because how he is. But
sure. Although he did show up for the what do you call it? I guess remake.
Yeah, the reboot, I guess.
He did show up for that.
Yeah.
He did show up for that. So,
I think that kind of like he saw what they were doing and he was like, this is weird. I like this. Where like with this, it's like it's telling the story, more of the story that I don't want to tell anymore. Cause like he's gone on record being like, I'm kind of done with this, he
was the last holdout for 3 for that's true.
But one of the things that really struck me about that trailer is the feel of it. Like it doesn't feel like an old Ghostbusters movie, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like it had such a it looks like it's going to be fantastic. Like it really looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yes, and I know what you mean as far as it doesn't have the old feel, because almost in a way the beautiful camp of the original film that we liked so much was great. Now, when I was a little kid, when you and I were itty bitties, the first one, especially in the library, kind of scared me. It was supposed to, in a way. But that was kind of the only part that really scared me. And it seems like this movie is aware of it. It's kind of like it's drawing that, it's not walking that fine line of, this is kind of creepy. These things, if you were in this town, this old, seemingly desolate kind of town in the middle of nowhere, and the earth keeps shaking, and even though there's no, there's no tectonic plates that are shifting or whatnot, it's a creepy atmosphere, but at the same time, it's almost like an 80s kind of Goonies kind of like let's search and have fun adventure kind of feel at the same time. So it just feels like a perfect blend of all the fun nostalgia berries you and I would have as kids. I was really on board with it altogether.
Well, like I think they're. Now, granted, this is a trailer, so we obviously have no idea what the actual movie is going to be like. But one of the things that struck me is, and you kind of touched on it, this trailer seemed more like a trailer for a horror film than a Ghostbusters movie. And on top of that, they also are really leaning into that Stranger Things vibe where
100%.
Yeah, like where it's like, okay, so we got a group of plucky kids who are going to, come in, but really sticking with that creepy overtone. And I was thinking about it because I remember I've watched the original trailers for the original Ghostbusters movie, and just thinking how this trailer ended, where it kept with that like ethereal music almost to the very end. In fact, I don't think it ever really went straight up Ghostbusters at the end, where in the original it gets to the end and it's got that ethereal music, and then you get the and the sax music and everything, and it goes into the that bit, and it's like, okay, we've completely lost the spooky feel. This is the camp, like you said.
Yeah,
this never went camp.
No, it never did. You're right in that it has the kids on a wild, zany adventure, sure, but it keeps that eerie kind of like larger than life atmosphere about it. It almost seems like if you hadn't seen the original Ghostbusters films, just saw this trailer and didn't know what it was for, you'd be like, this is kind of a weird, creepy movie. I'm not sure what's going on here. You wouldn't necessarily think, this is over the top zany, So yeah, you're right. It does. They keep the tone consistent, and because I think partly it's because they're aware that in order to bring new dollars into your franchise, new eyes on your screen, you got to appeal to new generations, essentially. This trailer and this whole film looks like it's doing that, having young, pretty much teenage and younger kids as the main stars, and probably having some legacy characters in there some capacity. Who knows what? That's probably the way to handle it. Having Ecto-1, literally Ecto-1, which is pretty much outside of the Millennium Falcon, has got to be the most recognized vehicle in a movie franchise. Having that on board is the perfect formula to make some kind of make a big splash. Yeah,
exactly. And the oh man, what was it that they did in the trailer that I was Paul Rudd, like the fact that Paul Rudd is going to be in it. I think they felt safe, and this is obviously conjecture on my part, but I think they felt safe leaning full into the Stranger Things creepy little bit of comedy, but the comedy comes from all of the kids, like all of the wow, it has a gunner seat and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And like you said, hitting the nostalgia berries. Like that was really only where the lighthearted stuff came from. Everything else was very deep, dark, spooky. And I think they felt comfortable doing that because they were like, but we've got Paul Rudd in the movie. And everybody knows that Paul Rudd is funny as all get out. Now, I could be wrong. It could be they could have him be playing the straight man and he isn't funny at all. I think that would be a horrible mistake. But having him in the movie is kind of like, okay, we're going to lean into this to give you this is a different thing than you're expecting, but it's going to be fun. Like there is going to be a fun bit because look who we've got. Ant-Man is on the job,
Well, that's just it. You mentioned Paul Rudd and Ant-Man. I feel like you can kind of have your cake and eat it too with Paul Rudd because he can do drama very well. You saw I saw Endgame with you. He managed to pull off the pathos and the humor at the same time very well in that film. He's in other various roles. Even in this trailer, he's really popping off jokes. He's pretty much like, seems pretty legit with what he's saying. But given the situations there's one time he's looking at the ghost, one of the traps. And he says, "Oh my gosh, this looks like a real trap. How'd you, authentic looking trap? How'd you get this kind of thing?" And then he realizes, "Oh my gosh, this is a real one, essentially." And so it's seeing the actual. He's playing up he's the kind of person that in real life would have been a hardcore fan of the original film. So he can approach it from the aspect of, I'm a fan of these guys in my world. Oh, wait, this is the real stuff. I can kind of fanboy out and be serious about the conspiracies I have of this town and everything, all that kind of stuff really well. You can kind of blend all those things together as a great character, I think.
Yeah.
And we can't leave out Carrie Coon. Carrie Coon, who was... I guess she's Finn Wolfhard's mother, I believe, in this film. I'm not entirely sure, but Carrie Coon, she was hiding under the table with them during the earthquake. She's an actress who's done. She does black comedy really, really well. Like she did the show Fargo. I'm not sure if you've seen that one. The show Fargo season 3. She was my favorite character in the David Fincher film Gone Girl. Did you ever get a chance to see Gone Girl?
I have not. I did not see Gone Girl. No.
Okay, it's a hard R film, so I know it's hard for you to watch hard R movies in your house. But she's a very, very good actress, and she can do black comedy and do pathos drama very well. So having them on board, and of course Finn Wolfhard and whoever else may be in the movie, having actual legitimate actors, and least of all Jason Reitman, the actual son of the original writer and director. The movie feels very tacit, feels very real. Like no offense, of course, to the reboot or remake, it felt kind of more like it felt at sometimes like it was on a set or a soundstage or a sketch in SNL. Sometimes the way it was, it felt very very well lit and kind of pretty and fun. This feels like a real grimy set, like a real location. Like they're actually in a farmhouse there in the middle of nowhere. This is really like there's dirt here. There are real cockroaches on the ceiling. That kind of stuff, and that plays a lot better as far as being able to get lost in the movie. So,
yeah, I just can't wait. And I also, I don't know how I feel about the fact that when the first one came out, I was 5, and Nugget is going to be 5 when this one comes out.
Oh wow!
So I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like oh that's kind of cool on one level, but then there's another level of like, oh man, like I'm old. You know?
But it's a perfect time. It's kind of. I'm sure they'll have some kind of like, oh, it's the 30th anniversary kind of thing or whatever for it too. Yeah. So whatever your math is. So that makes perfect sense. They kind of timed it out that way.
Yep.
It's crazy. I love it.
And speaking of old, I guess Wonder Woman. So
segue. You can't take it away. It's permanent. It's permanent. There's no editing in this live podcast.
I can't make all of the transitions work perfectly. I'm only one man. But
you're very handsome.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman in 1984 dropped, and that looks fun. Like right. And kind of surprising in a character that they're including. And I'm like, how the hell are they including this character? Like,
yes.
So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I went first on the Ghostbusters trailer. So I'll just go first on this one.
So this one, I think it looks fantastic. I like some of the fight scenes that they're showing, with the, obviously like her sliding the slider on his pistol and then smacking the thing with her
the greaves.
Or the
armbands.
Oh, what are they called? Her bulletproof thingies. Anyway, so she, so that bit's cool. And then obviously doing lasso of truth between lightning bolts, which, kind of made me go physics, but okay. Admittedly, she's using a lasso of truth, so we already kind of got to suspend some stuff there. So I guess okay, but the inclusion of Chris Pine was kind of surprising considering he died in the first one. Spoilers.
Yes.
So I don't think I only watched it once, so I don't know if they explained it in the trailer and I just missed it. But I just I was like, is he like a figment of her imagination, or no? He seems like he's really there. Or is he like a clone? Like, what are they doing with her? So I thought that was a little weird, but I'm interested to see what it looks like. I love the 80s styling of it.
Of course.
And like that's very. I like how it's set in the year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Ghostbusters came out in 1984, right?
Yes, it's a 1984.
Yeah,
it's the way it's like WW84.
Yeah, and so I find it funny that it's set in the year Ghostbusters were released, so I guess tie-in. But anyway, so yeah, it looks interesting. I don't know. So what are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm 100% with you. Pretty much like everything you said. I'm trying to look. I can't remember the character's name. I'm losing my nerd cred here. So Pedro Pascal's character, he is what's his name? He's in the comic books. He's kind of like her Lex Luthor, essentially. But I believe he's not magical, but I think he may have the power to. No, he does not. I don't think. Never mind. But another character that's famous in Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery is Cersei. I believe Cersei might be in this movie, and I think Cersei might perhaps like. My only theory that I can come up with to make any sense of Chris Pine coming back, because clearly he comes back from the dead.
Yeah.
He died hard. This is him coming back from the dead, 100%. It would have to be that Cersei basically tricked Wonder Woman into like, so I can bring you back the one that you want most in the world. And one thing that she would want most, of course, would be Chris Pine. She brings back, or Steve Trevor is the character's name. She brings back Steve Trevor. And of course, that has all kinds of horrible rippling effects that she's unaware of, essentially. And that's the best guess I can come up with, because she's done it before in the comic books where someone wants something to happen. Of course, it's a weird, ironic twist or whatnot. So yeah, that's all I can think of. But the character that Pedro Pascal, or AKA the Mandalorian, is playing, he is in her oeuvre of villains and rogues. I'm trying to figure out what the character is, but I know he does stuff too. I'm guessing it may be a situation where he may also be involved somehow, as far as he got a wish granted by Cersei to become a massive mogul. That's all it is. I feel like there's also, we have Pedro Pascal, aka the Mandalorian, is involved. I can't remember his character's name. I need to look it up, but that character is probably involved in some capacity as far as like a lot of the villainy that's going on, a lot of things that are larger than life, as far as lightning storms, and then this Cheetah. We saw Kristen Wiig. We didn't see her in costume as Cheetah, but so there's a lot of moving pieces. But it seems I do trust Patty Jenkins, and it seems like you said, the visuals are they up them like by threefold. And I love they took the time. It was supposed to come out in November of this year originally, and they pushed it back a lot. And it seemed like they made use of all that time to actually like really, get the visual effects and the script and everything else really hammered down. So it looks great. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. Max Lord is the name.
Max Lord.
Yeah. And I didn't know, and this is where I lose some of my nerd cred. I hadn't really paid attention much to this movie at all. I hadn't, because I'd been other stuff that I was focusing on. So when I saw Kristen Wiig in the trailer, I didn't know that she was going to be Cheetah. Like, I didn't know she was playing Barbara Minerva.
Oh.
And so when they were chatting, I was like, oh, that's Kristen Wiig. I bet you she's going to be Cheetah. And then, so I'm very proud of myself that I called that out despite not knowing absolutely anything about the fact that she was going to be that character. But I take it where I can get it.
That sounds very, very Nathan Beatty.
Yes.
Just to be both in both aspects, to be completely in the dark and at the same time to see something coming a million miles away.
Yeah,
both.
She's like, I am clueless, but I have one. Now I have one clue. So yes,
nice.
So yeah, I'm.
But also, like you mentioned, the literally riding the lightning. That's like, well done. That's a different thing altogether.
It's one of those things where you like, they made it look so cool that you kind of can't begrudge them. Like, you kind of have to go, yes, that's actually kind of awesome. Like, and also, she is a Greek goddess, so. Yes. I guess we gotta give them some leeway on this one, right. It's whenever they do something like that, but it like comes out as utter crap, and it's like, Joe Blow off the street doing it, and it's like, really, you're gonna that?
No, it doesn't work. Yeah,
that schlub was able to do that.
No, yeah. The thing about it was too is that originally one of her nicknames in the first movie was the God Killer, because she was actually powerful enough to kill a god. If a god can wield lightning, it stands to reason that a god killer could ride it. Yeah. So I'm 100% on board for that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think now you had mentioned that you wanted to talk. So shifting gears slightly, you have been playing Hollow Knight.
So here's my problem. I've known you for how many? I would say several days at least.
A few.
And in that time, a few. You never once mentioned Hollow Knight to me. You never said, "Hey, check out this game." I don't know. Yes, I finally. I think since if you check the tape, go back to episode 1 of this podcast through episode 25, 27, actually up until the last episode that we had, where you talked about your favorite things of the year. It was brought up. I brought up Hollow Knight, and you kind of chimed in as far as some of the things. That episode, that one thing has probably been brought up on this show more than the Golden Girls and Logan Browning combined. And I just started playing it recently, a few weeks ago, and I'm hooked. I pretty much only take like 1 or 2 days. Pretty much only take like 1 day off a week, more or less, and I pretty much just go crazy that one day playing that game like crazy. It's play as much as possible, and it's extremely hard. It is not. It's like laughably hard at points. It's like wow, this game is not even trying to help you, to the point where the characters in the game, the NPCs, don't even speak English. Like, they help you as far as like what's going on. They mumble in like the broken Rastafarian. So it's like, I have no idea what they're even trying to tell me. So it's fantastic. It's one of the best. The genre is known as Metroidvania. It's one of the best Metroidvania games I've ever played. It's big as hell. It costs $15, and that's it for all kinds of hours. I'm 36 hours deep. I haven't played any DLC. Haven't beat the main game, and it's incredible.
Wow, geez, yeah. I'm 120 hours.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now, granted, that's over the course of like a year and a half.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But
and DLCs and stuff.
Yeah, and the DLC and all that. Like I think I told you that so if you beat the entire game, it's 112%. That's what you get on the game. It says that you've done 112%. I'm like at 106. Like I haven't beat. There's multiple endings, and I haven't gotten the last ending. And then beyond that ending, there's like, I think it's called like the Hall of Monster. No, it's called like the Hall
the one at the top. That thing at the very top where you have to. It's like you're like a gladiator fighting in the.
Oh,
that one?
Oh, no. No. I've got that. Well, actually, you know what? That one, I've defeated almost all of those. There's one that I need to get.
The last one, the third leg is,
Yeah, the third one's really hard. And I think I did it, but I can't remember. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I did that one, but I did. There's another one. Like, there's like a thing where you actually, to get like a couple of extra points, or I mean, it might just be for bragging rights and it has nothing to do with the percentage, but there's a thing where you can go and play and fight all of the bosses of the game in succession.
It's like God mode or something.
Yeah, and it's called like the Hall of Pain or something like that, or
yes, Path of Pain.
That's what it is. Or the Path of Pain might be the castle to the thing. I'm not sure.
No, you're right. That's something else.
Yeah.
I understand.
But it's like you essentially go in and you pick, and it's not even in the game itself. Like, you just select. Like, you pick one, you're like, oh, okay, so I want to fight the dung beetle again, and then you click on him, and you just immediately are dropped in, and you play him in a slightly different form. But oh my God, like what I loved about that game was it. The fact that you could explore it at your own pace. You didn't necessarily have to go like, okay. Like it wasn't like point A to point B to point C. Like, it wasn't like that. It was, but
there are no points really.
But it does have bits where it's like, okay, so you can do like the first 5 letters of the alphabet in any order that you want to do. But if you want to get to F, you have to make sure you do G first. You've got to do G before you move to F. And I like that.
Yes, and that's the beauty of a properly structured Metroidvania game. And for those who don't know, because I'm sure that phrase is infuriating lots of people listen to this. Real quick, a Metroidvania. There's a game back in the 80s for Nintendo called Metroid, and part of what that game was is that in order to progress further, you had to acquire a certain ability, say like a double jump in order to get over a certain gap, or a jetpack to fly to a different area, or the ability to roll to get under a bridge, or what kind of thing. And in Castlevania, the game is structured in that in a way that you have to, like, once you've beaten the game going one direction, you literally have to flip the map and go back through it again, backwards essentially. And so because of that, the phrase Metroidvania, or the genre known as Metroidvania, came about for games where you have to acquire certain abilities and then go back to different points in the game in order to replay them again. And that's what Hollow Knight is. It's a Metroidvania style game where you have to acquire all kinds of abilities. Like you were just saying, where oftentimes there's no actual objective. In fact, I don't think it's ever stated in the game as far as, here's your objective, go do this. It's pretty much like, here, there is this thing in the game somewhere that you might find it or you might not. Who cares?
Yep.
It's very much free, open-ended kind of in that structure, but there's certain things you can't help but see, and you realize, oh, obviously I have to have some kind of ability to do that. And the amount of abilities that you get in this game is just like, it keeps going up and up and up. It's like, it's insane. Like 20 abilities or 30 of them. Then you have charms that give you the ability, like, to have good breath for your first date with Diane Ross, or it's all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's limitless. But for me, the single greatest selling point, and it's very, very, very shallow, is just the art style.
Oh, it's amazing.
Because it is essentially two-dimensional. But the way they do it is so beautiful. And it was made by like three guys, like three dudes and a composer, basically. But the music is beautiful, and the game design is so fantastic because the background artwork and foreground artwork is so engaging and like almost like eerily beautiful. But the characters themselves are kind of like two-dimensionally cel-shaded kind of characters, so they kind of pop off the screen in a way. They kind of stand out. But it's such a well-blended design that it's breathtaking to watch. Like literally every frame of the game and every world looks different, looks unique, has different color schemes and everything else, but also is very pertinent to it's thematic, essentially. So if you're in a city called the Fungal Waste, everything there looks like it's been, over time, like fungus has destroyed it. Or if you're in a place that's the City of Tears, it's raining, and so you get to see nonstop constant water coming down and kind of how it affect that world and everything else. It's just it's an amazingly well thought out game that was developed by literally a handful of people on basically it was a Kickstarter campaign, I believe, right? It was a Kickstarter campaign, some kind of a crowdfunding campaign. They got the money to do it.
Might have been Indiegogo, but yeah, it was a crowdfunded. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's embarrassingly crazy. Hell,
yeah. It is one of those games, and if you go back and listen to the earlier episodes when I did bring it up, like I always struggled to explain it. Like I always struggled to be like, I don't know what it is about the game that is just so like enthralling. So
and also there was I know what you mean too. There was one boss, but it was the dream boss. It was one of the first like dream bosses I faced earlier. So I killed the regular boss. And then I used the hollowed sword, hold down triangle to use the nail, that kind of the nail, hollow nail thing, and went into his dream world and fought him. And the thing about it was, at first, he was so fast, he killed me so fast I couldn't pick up his patterns. And so that's a problem sometimes if you're fighting a boss and they kill you too quickly for you to realize what the patterns are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it sounds like. This guy is. He's almost patternless because he kills you so fast.
Yeah. Well, and that's the cool thing about the game, and I think part of the reason why I liked it so much is that you would hit an area that you couldn't get past, but if you just kept chipping away out of it, what would happen is you would start to pick up a little bit of the pattern, and a little bit of the pattern, a little bit more, and it would just get to the point where like you would go in and you would beat it, and it would be just because you had like after those like 100 times you fought the guy, you finally got the pattern down, you kept figuring it out, and I just really like that.
Yes, and part of it is too. Part of the fun of it as well is for example, the trader Mantis, that big huge guy. After I figured out what a pattern to use against him was pretty much to stay right next to him or to watch him. If he tilted his head up, that means he's going to jump, or if he just leaned back, that means he's going to rush forward. It's also a matter of being able to execute your strategy or your tactics. Because it's not just a matter of knowing what they're going to do; it's being able for you to still dodge, or you still move, or you still like make sure you heal at just the right moment for just the right second. All those things too. So it's such a extreme tight stratagem. You still can't there's not a lot of wiggle room. You have to be really, really, really at the top of your game like, all the time, basically. So it's really, really well done.
Yeah, it's a great game. Okay, so that's Hollow Knight, but I'm playing. You've been playing Hollow Knight. I'm playing Wild Hunt, Witcher, Wild Hunt, and you brought up the idea of comparing them, and at first I was like, what? But the more I've thought about it, it actually
not to sidetrack, not to stop you too much, but that what reminded me so much of a Darth Vader. You remember in episode, you know what I'm talking about, episode 4 when Han Solo comes in there and like blasts one of the ships on his side. He looks up and says, "What?" We'll drop the clip in. We'll drop it later on. But anyways, go on.
Yes.
Go on.
But yeah, it the more I thought about it, because like we were just talking about what we liked about Hollow Knight and how like it was like chipping away, and there's actually a little bit of that in The Witcher. Like there's a like early on in the game you have to go and fight a witch or a thing or some spirit of some sort, and you have to make sure you're prepared. And if you're not prepared, you're gonna get your tails handed to you, and you have to learn the patterns of the characters and everything to really get it going. So yeah, I actually think they're more alike than one would think right off the bat. It's just the styling is just vastly different.
Yes, that's what's so interesting about it, because obviously The Witcher 3 is the graphics and like the engagement of the people. It's just on the surface level. The Witcher 3 is got all kinds of awards for the acting, as far as the real people that are mocapped and the way they speak and all the elaborate dialogue and all that kind of stuff, and the inflections and the music and the outfits that they wear. It's so ornate. It's amazing. But at the same time, in Hollow Knight, all that is stripped away, and yet it's it locks you in just as much. You still feel that the world is just as real or tacit. The colors scheme is much, much, much more like kind of stripped away, but it's done in a deliberate manner so that it feels just as real. It doesn't feel like it's missing something. It feels like it's deliberately set up that way. It's deliberately colored that way. So it's interesting to think that these games who on the surface do look overwhelmingly like the ones on the opposite ends of the spectrum, there is a lot of common ground too. You mentioned the chipping away at the boss, the witch. And I know which one you're talking about early on in the game, that first one that can kind of really tear you apart. It's very similar to in Hollow Knight, how if you go into a match with the wrong charms or not knowing what you're doing, you can get destroyed. You have to, both these games are set up in a way that it does require some forethought. You can't just go in willy-nilly. You have to take the time to talk to people, talk to NPCs, properly equip yourself. In The Witcher, you have to get like the right kind of potions or concoctions or bombs or whatnot. In Hollow Knight, you have to make sure you have the right kind of. You almost can't even get to off a lot of these bosses until you actually have the right abilities. And then once you do, if you don't have, like, say for example, my favorite ability in the game is like the kind of the shadow dash, where you can like shadow dash through something. If there's a boss in the game, there's a giant bumblebee that has like a lance. I couldn't beat him to save my life until I realized I had to get that shadow dash where I can just dash right through him in the face, and he can barely touch you then. So it's on that level alone, it's a direct comparison.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. I was in the exact same spot. I got to him and I was like, why can't I beat this guy? And then I looked it up and went, oh, I'm supposed to get this thing. And then it was like, I beat him like on my first try after I had the shadow dash. It was like, and I was like, oh, he's dead. Well, the other thing I thought of too, like I think on the gameplay level, I think they're comparative. They compare favorably, but also I think in the story as well, because something that Witcher has done that I've noticed, Witcher 3, it is very big on basically saying, okay, here is a scenario. Here are your options. And it's got like the obviously good guy option, obviously bad guy option, and obviously neutral option, generally give or take in your responses. And so you pick one. And then the game goes, oh, you wanted to go down this route? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Like a good example is, you talk to this woodsman, and it's actually going back to that same like witch type character you're trying to defeat. You talk to this like woodsman or this hunter, and you're having this conversation with him, and he's basically talking about how like he's kind of shunned, and people don't want to interact with him and everything because of how he is. And so you have this option to be like, oh, are you a werewolf? Because if you are, I can totally help you out. And he and he like basically just throws it back in your, like, not really throws it back in your face, but he basically like, no, I'm gay. And you're just like, okay. I did not read the room. Okay. And and then you go and like the more you find out that it's there, like the relationship he was having with the Lord's son caused the Lord to like it essentially ruined the entire town, which has a little bit of baggage involved just in that. But like that started a thing that caused the entire area to be basically ripe for the picking for the enemies. And and it's just like, oh, so I was trying to go down the good guy route, and I just discovered this horrible story that makes me sad. And Hollow Knight's the same way. It's like it does those things where it's like, okay, here's option A and option B, and you go, oh, well, I'm going to do option A because option A is obviously the thing that will make everything better, and then everyone dies, and you're just like, oh God,
Yes, I love that kind of stuff. I love when games have that element as far as there's a choice that does have grave consequences that you can't undo. And you think, like you said, option A is the right one or the one that you want to choose that will lead you down this kind of a certain kind of path. And it turns out, nope, you were completely wrong. You were almost misled astray. And one other thing that's really great about it, too, is that both Hollow Knight and The Witcher 3, clearly the games have a history. I mean, obviously you can play Witcher 1 and 2 and learn a bit more, but even within those games, these towns, there's a backstory to these towns that's pre-game. So like it's clear that there's been a past or things have gone astray. There's been wars happening, that towns and villages have been rendered asunder because of past events, that kind of stuff. In The Witcher 3, it's very similar in Hollow Knight. In Hollow Knight, I mean, it's even in the title, Hollow. It's almost like there's stuff missing from this world, and you feel like you're oftentimes just walking around virtually desolate wastelands. To some extent, they're beautiful and all, but there's still, you feel like there's clearly things have happened in these regions, these areas that have left these places in shambles, and that kind of lived in world is just it's an amazing thing that both these games managed to do beautifully.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, that when you first brought it up, I was like, well, I don't know how that's going to work, this discussion. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, yeah, these games are very similar. And you mentioned like in functionality, in the not only the way that like the actual gameplay is, but also in the way that like you need to outfit yourself. And like you mentioned, with Witcher, you need like potions and bombs you basically need to figure all that out ahead of time or you're screwed. And with Hollow Knight, it's the charms. You need to have the correct charm match to or like the charm, the right set of charms to get through certain areas. Like there's just no getting around it. Like you just have to do it. And so, so there's that piece and there's, and then
also the equipment that your character has as far as he can double jump or shadow cloak.
Yeah, exactly. And it just, it's really interesting how essentially on a lot of fundamental levels, they're extremely similar, but they are skinned completely different and they both work and they both work in different ways. And I really like that. I really like and also the one thing that is different between the two is the way it tells the story. Cause with Witcher, like, yeah, you're finding stuff and you're reading stuff, but you're also having it with conversations. And while that happens in Hollow Knight, it's different. It's a different feel to it. So that's that.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not so much that Witcher 3 is too elaborate with the text and completely lacks all subtext, but it definitely is more verbose with actually hearing characters say things or having cut scenes. Like they mentioned, the mission you just mentioned right there with the werewolf story and things of that nature. And also, I saw that before in when you do your playthrough on Twitch, how you were with Siri. You get to a point in the game. It's not too much of a spoiler, but you get to this point in the game where you meet a guy named the Baron, and he tells you a story about Siri, the young lady that the Witcher's trying to track down. And then actually the game gives you the chance to actually see it and play it yourself firsthand. And which is vastly different than in Hollow Knight. In Hollow Knight, there's points where you meet certain characters. For example, I forgot his name. It's this little, really cocky little ass of a bug.
Yeah. Is it? What's his name? Something like Yorick or something like that.
Yeah, and I know they're gonna have to insert it in there.
I'm looking it up right now because it's gonna bother me because I find him hilarious.
He's definitely hilarious, but he's definitely a little ass. But so that I'll vamp until you figure it out though. But that guy, when I first came upon him, I'm guessing it's probably the same for you. When I first came upon him, he was literally in the jaws of a beast, being ready to get killed. And he's just mouthing off. And I realized I came upon him. What's his name?
Zote.
Zote, that's his name.
The Mighty.
Yeah, the Mighty. He called now self-appointed. He's called Zote the Mighty, self-appointed. But that character, you come upon him, he's in the bowel, almost in the belly of a beast, and you basically had to save his life. And of course, he's extremely ungrateful, and I think he even calls you a few unfavorable names. And you see him throughout the game. But the thing is, the only way you understand or know this character is by you come upon him after he's pretty much lost a fight. You don't know his backstory. You don't know where he's from. You don't know anything about him. All you know about him is that he also is a knight of sorts. Your main character, is a Hollow Knight. He never talks. You don't really know his origin either. It's all kind of just in the background. You can piece some things together, but it's very, very sparse.
Yeah.
So it's the way they present the story, like you said, is completely different, and it still works though.
Yeah. I just love how they did it. And Zote's hilarious. He's just, and you save him, and he's like, I was where I wanted to be. Why did you do that thing? You ruined my plan, you fool.
Yeah, that's what he said. Like he says, you ruined my plan.
Yeah.
Plan.
It's like, really? Your plan was to die. Okay, good.
That's my plan. Give me indigestion after he ate me.
No, my question, I do have a question. Did you save him every time, or did you let him get?
Every time. Oh, there was one time in what's it called? What's the Deep Nest? I think it was Deep Nest. Where I couldn't figure out how to get to him, and I didn't save him. But I haven't beaten the game yet, so I can go back and save him. But there was one time I saw him somewhere. I couldn't figure out how to get to him to save him. I saved him twice, but I couldn't. I had to save him a third time. And I'll be honest though, the third time I was kind of like, man, screw that guy. He keeps mouthing off at me. He deserves to die. But I know I had to save him. But, So it's hilarious. That does remind me though. Now that you brought that up, that's a point of the games of both games too. They both have it where every little. It's not just the interaction as far as the whole big game. It's little things too that change outcomes. So I'm sorry, go on though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I've got to say though, while Zote is hilarious, my favorite is Quirrell. He's my favorite NPC.
Oh, he's the one with the mask, right?
He's the one with the mask that you meet, and he's the one that I really like. There's a couple of times where like you'll meet him on like the edge of a lake or in like a quiet area, and he'll just be sitting there and he'll just be like, "Sit with me. Let's enjoy the peace." And it's just like
he's a fun guy.
Yeah. Like it's like, dude, you're cool. So
Quirrell is awesome. He also helps you out in a fight. You're fighting that big jellyfish. He backs you up.
Yeah, he helps you out. Quirrell's great. But both those games just they set out to do a similar thing but in different ways. And I think they both succeed very well. Like I think they do a really good job of just making. Now, one thing and another difference I should say between the two is, well, maybe not. I don't know because I'm just getting to a point. You can speak more to this than I can. Hollow Knight is very like we were saying before. You can go in any direction. There's really no like point A, point B, point C. For me so far, The Witcher has been you go to point A, you go to point B, you go to point C. Like within the areas you have things. But before you can move on, you have to do a certain set of things, and then you can move on. I don't know if that continues or if that, like it does seem like I'm getting into the wider world now, but I don't know. Like you can speak to that more than I can.
Yeah. So here, I guess one of the bigger differences to deal with, a big difference that dovetails into the difference you just mentioned is a leveling system. There is no leveling system at all in Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
You do acquire certain abilities, but even that isn't as far as level. Or you can bump up your level, your health, the amount of life you have, or the amount of spirit energy to fight with that you have. But even then, it's still not at a different level. In The Witcher 3, the more you play, the more you get XP. You actually have different levels, and there's all kinds of side quests. I mean, there's almost endless side quests in that game, but there's oftentimes you can't unlock, or you shouldn't go to these side quests until you're a certain level. And because of that, it does kind of sometimes streamline you as far as where you're supposed to go. If you have the main mission is level 12, and the side missions are level like 15 and 16, and you're only a level 12 yourself, obviously you can't go and do the side missions. So you're kind of told where you can go, or you probably shouldn't do the side missions. So yes, because of that aspect, it can limit your where you go. However, once you do get into the game, and once you actually are beefed yourself up a bit, and if you do take the time to kind of just explore freely around the area, oftentimes there's plenty of things that you still can do that are off the beaten path. Like you just stumble upon a mission. If you're trying to go, let's say, for example, to the main mission area, and you're riding your horse for a long while, you'll stumble upon like another mission, another side mission that you can attempt to do. So because Hollow Knight, there's not nearly as much communication as far as what you're supposed to do, you feel that much more inclined to explore freely. And because Witcher 3 does give you certain objectives or certain side missions, you feel at times that much more inclined just to do those things. But exploration is rewarded in Witcher 3, just like it is in Hollow Knight.
Yeah. It's, both those games are awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah, they really are.
So,
and we'll have to have another episode where we dedicate pretty much just to the idea of how game design is done, and you, like you said, that you're able to, you set out to do a certain thing, and how you find a way to do it effectively.
Yeah.
Even if within your genre, within your type of game, it may seem vastly unorthodox.
Yeah, there's a great series if you're interested in game design. There is a fantastic series, I should say. It's called Extra Credits. It's on YouTube, and essentially it's been going for almost. I don't think it's been going for a decade yet, but it's been going for at least 7-8 years, and it essentially is some folks, some guys who were game designers, and they got together and started making this YouTube series, and they've had various animators over the years, because what they presented in in kind of a almost animatic style, where like it's a character talking, and then but it's an animatic, it's not a full animation, but they cover topics of game design, and it is fascinating. It's really fascinating, because they cover all different types of topics of like level design, UI creation, story, how to fit a story within, like how to write a story for games, all of that. Like it's just how to monetize, how to do free to play game things, how to do it well, how to do it poorly. It's just fantastic. So I highly recommend that if you're interested in game design.
It's called Extra Credits?
It's called Extra Credits. They've actually started doing a series, a history series as well. So they've started doing history essays with it. But yeah, Extra Credits on YouTube. So check it out.
I do thoroughly enjoy some video essays on just about anything. So check it out.
They one of their history ones that they did, I realize it's not game design, but they did the story of how the guy in England who discovered how, I think it was dysentery was not dysentery,
but the spreading of germs.
Spreading of germs, essentially. It was spreading of germs. And it's kind of famous in the medical world in the sense that he looked at a map, he used a map to figure it out, and basically was like, oh, this well is downstream from a a factory that is pouring their sewage into the, that kind of thing. Well, his name was Jon Snow. So the actual historic figure. So the entire series was nothing, Jon Snow, because the whole the whole concept was the fact that because he was going around he operated in a time. There was this really weird time where in the 1800s they forgot that washing your hands was a good thing, and he was one of the
forgot.
Yeah, they just forgot. It was they knew it for a little bit, and then they were like, man, maybe that's not it, and they stopped. And he was one of the few doctors who was like, no, we were onto something there, and everybody was like, yeah, no, you're. You know nothing, Jon Snow. So that was the theme that they did, and it was really interesting. So I highly recommend that as well.
What? I would pay coin to watch a comedy spoof about people eating raw meat with dirty ass hands, and the guy's like, "What are you doing? Please stop!" He's like, "You idiot!" And as they all die from dysentery. What is going on in the world? We forgot.
Oh yeah, we forgot. The British Empire forgot how to cure scurvy for 200 years. They knew how, and then they just stopped, and then they just forgot, and then for 200 years. Yeah, people were getting scurvy. Centuries. Yeah,
right. I mean, I guess I can't laugh too hard because we kind of forgot how to prevent mumps and everything. That came back, and we get measles again. So
yeah, seriously,
people forget stuff.
God.
Wow.
Anyway,
but that's it.
On that note,
that's another podcast altogether.
Yeah, on the note of scurvy and anti-vaxxers, let's go ahead.
Oops, we forgot the Earth is actually round.
Yeah, exactly. So, so is there anything you would like to plug?
Oh, my friend, there is. There is. Now, I'm going to take a chance here because I don't know. I'm going to assume you haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Because you didn't mention it to me right away.
Uh-huh.
Season 3 of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I knew you were going to say it.
Okay. No. Okay. Here's the thing. I haven't seen it. So I have not seen it. But I was bringing it up just for you to
Oh yeah, I've seen episode 1. I haven't dove into the rest yet. In fact, the warden and I are probably going to do this we're kind of forcing the slow pace on it. So I think we're going to watch, we watched one episode the other night. We're going to watch another episode next week. Just kind of trickle it out. So that way we have a thing to look forward to in addition to The Mandalorian going forward.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay. No, actually, that is something that I've my best friend Susan has been doing that for a couple of years with her husband. And I know a few other people that do that too. Taking your time with shows, even if you have the ability to binge them, taking your time with them, actually savoring them more. I want to start doing that more myself. So I'm going to try to do that too. I haven't done it successfully yet, but I will eventually. So I commend you and the warden for doing that. The show I actually want to plug, my own plug actually, is a show called Reprisal on Hulu. Have you heard of this show or seen the ads?
No, I haven't actually.
I'll give you a real quick rundown. Basically, it's called Reprisal, as the name implies. It's about kind of a something coming back on somebody. Mm-hmm. The show opens with, it's a beautiful opening. It opens with a woman driving really quick in a car with her mascara running as she's crying, trying to get to a certain location. She gets to this place and she sees a whole bunch of dead bodies. And these shadowy figures, you can barely make out their faces at all, really. They're standing there, looming there. And she's pleading with them to basically to stop doing what they've done, or she's telling them that what they've done is wrong, essentially. And the guys casually listen to her. And while she's talking, they just slowly walk over to her. And one of them says, get the chains. They get some chains from the back of this pickup truck. And she just stands there. She doesn't even try to move as they casually bind her hands, her wrist, with these chains. And they casually tie the chain to the back of a pickup truck. And they're getting ready to get into it. And, of course, it's pretty obvious what's getting ready to happen. And then one of the characters says, this big, huge, hulking guy in the dark shadow says to her, he says, Mom used to always say that you got your strength from her. I never saw it. And so it's clear that they're brother and sister, that this brother's getting ready to, drag his sister. Mm-hmm. And then the woman stops crying and she says, hey, Bert, I'm going to find you. And then the brother just kind of has a little smile. You see a smile in the darkness, and it says, "I know." And then the truck doors close, and you just see the truck take it off real quick, and that's it. And then it cuts to the opening credits, essentially. And that's the opening of the show. And I love any show that can get you that engaged, that quick, that mysteriously. It's clearly a story of some kind of revenge. I'm like 7 episodes deep. It's a great show, but the opening alone, I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this show. It was just so well done. So yeah, Reprisal is a show I'm watching right now.
Oh wow, that sounds interesting. That it reminds me of there's a comic and I can't remember the name of it that kind of has a similar like. You mentioned the brother sister thing that there was that have like powers kind of situation, and that just reminded me of that. So I will try to find it and drop it in.
Yes, of course.
All right. So anything else before I wrap this puppy up?
One last thing. Okay. I don't know if anybody is going to have a chance to watch it. There's a Harley Quinn cartoon on DC All Access, which is rated a hard R show where they drop F-bomb. Have you heard about this show, Nate?
I've heard about it. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh wow, this is interesting.
I watched the first episode at a buddy's house here, and it is extremely raunchy and funny. I couldn't believe how funny it was. I was like, wow. I had just about signed off on lots of DC, like shows, whatnot. It was a kiddie show, whatnot. It is not kiddie at all. It is it's like Deadpool minus the fourth wall breaking. If you're up for that kind of a show with DC characters, it is 100% worth it. So yeah.
Oh, awesome.
That's the last thing. That's plug.
Awesome. All right. Well, you can find Ari on Twitter at Ornerine. You can find Ethan at echelonGnovels.com. You can find me at NathanBeattyVO.com. You can find more information on the podcast at echelonGnovels.com/CIP or www.thecipnetwork.com. You can call us directly at 434-481-1787 and leave us a voice message, and we'll play it on the show. You can email us directly at nate@thecipnetwork.com. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitch. And finally, you can support us at Patreon, or you can go directly to thecipnetwork.com, or we're also now on anchor.fm/CIP. Check us out there. You can support us there as well. Our intro and outro music is the song Amigos by Platinum Butterfly, copyright 2015, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. You can find more of their stuff at dig.ccmixter.org, featuring Clarence Simpson and Susan. As always, thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Clarence Thomas.
Oh, geez. As I just almost killed my cat. Sorry.
That sounds like something another innuendo as well.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so many things I could say. Okay.